welcome along to the Invincible podcast, brought to you today by AFTV PICK10 with my man, Lee Judges, in the building. Are you all right?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, right? This guy, yeah? Last week, Saturday, coming out of Goodison Park.
Oh,
I've never seen someone so angry. He was going off, man. I saw two guys walk past you and they were like, what's up with him? Bloody hell, yeah, all right, we lost.
Yeah.
You were losing it, man. I mean,
I do take it
calm
badly.
down,
I
know. You know what, right?
I do take it badly.
I don't really. I've sat next to you at a couple of games, but normally those games we've won.
Yeah.
Are you always like that?
Yeah, very animated. Yeah, very especially when we play like that. You know what I mean? And listen, once you've calmed down and all that. It takes me about a day or whatever.
Bloody hell!
I don't like Arsenal losing. I
know, nor do I. But jeez,
and I am a sore loser, and the way we lost was disappointing. But and that's what I was talking to Joe. Does a production down here earlier before you come in. That is why the fan cams, I think, are a majestic thing, because you actually have a different perspective later on, you know what I mean? But at that moment it's raw, and when I get home and I'm driving home and I do see it differently, and then people talk to you and you
bit of therapy,
a bit of therapy, a bit of rationality comes into it. Is that the word I'm looking for? And then now I'm ready to go again for Brentford. But yeah, I'm very, very I think, if I'll be honest, when Arsenal win, I think we're the best team in the world. Do you know what I mean? And I go and I do get carried away with it, but that's the emotional sort of side of it is. And do you know what? I wouldn't change myself. You know what I mean? And it's really weird, because a fella said to me, I actually brought it up on my fan cam. A fella said to me, do you know when you want someone to go, don't worry about it, do you know what I mean? But I had this fella next to me and he went, this is all because of bloody last week at Man City. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Instead of just going out, it's just one of those things. But my mate said a magnificent thing to me, and I do agree with him. And he said to me, don't matter what team that was, whether it was Man City, Man United, Spurs, West Ham, Chelsea, they would have lost that game against Everton on that day. They were that good.
Yeah, they were good. They were good, Everton. You know what I mean? I came out of the game and I was a little bit, obviously, really disappointed. Although, when we think about it, that is a bogey team for us as well. That is the last 3 times now we've played them at Everton and we've lost them. We'll play Everton at home and slap them up. But every time we go to Goodison Park, it's always a problem. And, that game, I don't know, it started well for Arsenal. I thought we had, we looked to be controlling the game. But then they just grew into it, and they were so up for it, man. You know what I mean? Like, if you ever wanted to see a case of new manager bounce, that was it. That was it. It was like the perfect manager, because even like during the week or the previous week when they were talking about managers being linked to the job, I was hoping it's going to be Bielsa, because I'm like, you know what, Bielsa, it'll be an open game. They'll come and attack us, play out from the back, stuff like that. But as soon as Dyche got it, I was like, we know what's coming.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if we knew what was coming, the team. I'm not 100% sure if they did, because what he did, I thought he was really smart, is that he just nullified our pressing game.
Yeah. By
just going long all the time. It was just long. It was industrial, right? But it worked.
Yeah.
And you can't criticise him for that. It worked. And then on top of that, their players gave absolutely, it was like a cup tie. They gave absolutely everything. They were, even speaking to on what was it, Tuesday, I saw Baz. I was doing that overlap thing with Gary Neville and that, and I saw Baz from Toffee TV, Everton fan.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he goes, Robbie, man, he goes, there's players on that pitch. He goes, first of all, he said, that's our best performance of the season by far. That's what he said to me, right? And then he goes, there are players on the pitch there. He goes, throwing their bodies on the line, all that sort of stuff. He goes, I've just not seen that. Yeah. He goes, the last time I saw that, he said, was last year when it was like they were in the relegation fight right near the end. And, and I think, and I hope with this game that it was a wake-up call for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Because this is what we are going to face in the running. These are the type of teams people look at the fixture list now, and they're going, yeah, if we beat City, then hold on, look at the other teams in between, because even going down towards the end of the season, you look on games and you'll think, favourable running, but we're going to come up against teams that are fighting for their lives, and those players are going to be putting their bodies on the line. And if we don't match that, which I don't think we really did in the game,
that was the disappointment for
right?
me.
If we don't match that, there'll be problems.
That was the disappointment for me, and you're dead right. What you're saying is that, you know, if you're off of it, and I felt after 5 minutes we was off of it, our passing wasn't right, we just didn't seem to have the right attitude, which disappointed me, if I'll be honest. But maybe it was because they was so much up for it.
They put us off our game.
Yeah, put us off our game.
Natural game. We thought we were going to go and do what we always did, and we didn't really seem to have another plan to cope with
that
what
is
they
my
were doing.
problem, like, you know what I mean? Because other teams now will look at that, Robbie, and think, right, that's the way of beating Arsenal. And you have a look at Brentford; they've got Ivan Toney up front, similar sort of player to Calvin-Lewin. I thought was outstanding on the day. You know, that they chucked it up to him, and he held the ball up. And I'll be honest, Saliba hasn't faced that sort of play probably in his career. Like, you know, if you look at it in the French league, they don't play like that. And what was it? We was just a little bit off. A couple of things I've took on board, what people have said. If you've beaten Spurs, Manchester United, played Manchester City, maybe we've just took a little bit out of us on the day. But we wasn't quite up for it. And if you're not up for it in the Premier League, you will get found out. Doesn't matter how good you are. I thought Leeds yesterday were up for it a little bit more than Man United. And, they get the result.
Because I think... and this is a natural thing, I guess, that happens sometimes, and this is why you need wake-up calls. But I think in that game yesterday, that Leeds game, I think that the United players thought, it's Leeds at home.
Yeah, we're going to win this game.
Light work. Their fans went there thinking the same thing. It wasn't until now they realised, and they're like, oh my God. And they got to really proper turn it on. Look how quickly they got the 2 goals back. Look how quickly the fans changed and were right up for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is why in the running, you know, you got to be on it.
Yeah,
You've got to be on it.
And I'll tell you what, like, you know, coming out of Everton, I've got a soft spot for Everton, as you know. They're giving you a bit of banter and all that, and I said, I'll tell you, and I said to a couple of the Everton fans, I say, you laughing about that performance, but you should be like, you know what I mean? Like, the players are disgraceful. Like, they've not put in that sort of performance all season. Now they're putting it in. You know, but I think with Leeds a little bit. Leeds have been putting in good performances, but just missing chances, whatever. But Everton, I watched them against Southampton. I watched them against West Ham. Never put in that sort of effort. Never put. If they put that effort in, they would have probably won those games as well. I know it's a different thing, the bounce thing and all that, like, but. You know, it's just one of those games.
They actually had the same bounce, and again, this is what the guy from Toffee TV was pointing out, because I was going, you guys should be safe. He goes, well, hold on, wait. He goes, still a long way to go, and he goes, we had the same bounce when Lampard came in.
Yes, yeah.
Because he goes, when Lampard came in, everyone was putting their body on the line, and it's how long you can sustain it for.
Exactly, I wouldn't trust any of those players. Yeah. If you know what I mean, they're down tools for so long, and you know, I would actually say at this moment in time, look, I'm going to say it now. I want Everton to survive. I've got a lot of time I like Everton, even though it's a tough place to go and whatever. I want Everton to survive, but I think they're still in trouble. Because you look at other teams around them. Wolves. It was a great day for Everton, but Wolves went and beat Liverpool. You know, I mean, Leeds have gone and done that, and that is why. When we do this pick 10, you just cannot do it because you can't predict a result. You know what I mean? Anybody turns around and says, you know, when I see guys on here getting 9s out of 10, I don't know how they're doing it, because you cannot. There is always a result along the line which messes you up. And you know, I honestly thought yesterday. Be honest, I thought Manchester United would win that easily yesterday. Yeah, and they didn't. You know.
And this is what I'm saying, and this is why. And I'm hoping. I mean, you know, I'm hoping it refocuses the players, because you know you got to ask the question: is it a blip or is it something to worry about? Because And that's only going to come out, I feel, through the attitude of the players and what we see this week. Because I do look on it and say to myself that maybe we've been on such a great run that you kind of assume that eventually you'll get the better of these teams.
Yeah.
But as I said, a lot of these teams now are going to be in a different mode to what they were earlier on in the season. They are starting to look and they are starting to see that, you know, if they don't get their act together, they're going down. You're coming up against teams like that, you know what I mean? And then even this weekend, it's a different problem because you're coming up against a team that's on form and eyeing a European place, which would be the equivalent to them sort of, you know, winning the league. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean? They're viewing it like that. It's a marvellous achievement because they got something to really go for. Whereas sometimes you play a team earlier on in the season and they look here and say, okay, you know what, Arsenal will just take a point, whatever. You know what I mean? But, you know, so we've got to get our act together. We're chasing a really big prize and we've really got to get our act together. And I just wanted to know from you, are you worried or is it a blip?
I'm a little bit, I'm not say worried, nervous. I'm nervous for Saturday. I'm not gonna lie. I'm fortunate to be in hospitality on Saturday, so I'm gonna try.
That's fantastic, isn't it? The team's really gonna get your full support, isn't it?
Right.
You know, be on your prawn sandwiches and that.
I'm gonna get a couple of beers to soften the blow a little bit because I think this is a real tough game.
It won't be for you, will it?
No. I think it'd be a tough game because, and I'm going to be honest, if we beat Brentford, I bet they come away from it and their manager go, we're disappointed. We didn't get something from this game. I think it's going to be a really, really tough game. They are an informed team at the moment, like, you know. Do you want to take on an informed team? Why not? Like, you know what I mean? I think it's a good game for us to take.
Let's just roll it back. We've been taking on informed teams now
for
weeks. You know what I mean? When we played Man United, they've been undefeated.
They were there.
You know what I mean? You know, we've been playing a lot of teams like Newcastle, all these sort of teams. So, but we need the points now. Now, as things kind of went, it wasn't as damaging as we thought it might be, that defeat against Everton.
You didn't cheer that Spurs goal, did you? Huh? You didn't cheer it. I don't like to tell fans how to support Arsenal. I'll get a little bit. That's one thing that's got on my goat a little bit this week is that fans telling you how to support the Arsenal this season, like telling you like, oh, you know, don't be support your team how you want to, like, you know what I mean? But
listen, right?
Did you cheer on that goal?
What? When
Tottenham
scored? Yeah.
I did. I didn't.
Right? I didn't cheer. I'm not jumping up and down cheering, but I'm like, yeah, get in. You know, I want them to win. Listen, I had some Arsenal fans say to me the other day, go, how could you want them to win? Any proper? Okay, are you dumb? We've just dropped points the day before, right? And right now, it's not Tottenham. Listen, this is how I look on it, right? We've done the double over Tottenham.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've done the double over them. Yeah, home and away. So they're done. They're out of it. They're done and dusted. So if they can do us favours from now to the end of the season, I'll take them.
Yeah.
What you think?
It's more about Manchester City losing.
I don't listen. They can go and lose next week, but this game was important after our slip up. That game was an important game, right? Because if City had won that game, they're 2 points behind. Right? All right. I know we got the game in hand. They'd be 2 points behind. Then remember, they're coming to play us next week.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, of course, I wanted Tottenham to win. I don't care what no one says. If you say that you're not a proper, well, then, you know, I'm sorry. I think that's some dumb way of thinking. I want Arsenal Football Club to win the league more than I want Tottenham to lose. You know what I mean? I want us to win the league. That's what I want. I want, you know, and I want our players to be focused upon us. But we slipped up. And they had the chance to do us a favour, which they did. Thank you, Harry Kane and co. And we take that. They take that.
Yeah. Look, listen, it's more important. It was more important that Manchester City lost that game, and because you know, for the bigger picture, I get that, like, you know, and
well, they want to, you know. Listen, it's not like at the end of the day, we got to do our own work.
Yeah,
and we shouldn't be begging Tottenham, you know, well, we're not begging Tottenham for favours, but listen, they did us a favour, we take it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, that was a very good, you know, that was a very good 3 points that they took off of City because it's back advantage Arsenal with 5 points clear.
And another game ticked off.
Another game ticked off, right? And we've got a game in hand. And, you know, so, you know, I was bantering, you know, a couple of my Tottenham mates and saying, thank you very much. Thank you.
Be great, if they lose to Leicester, wouldn't it? Like this,
and then that'd be incredible if they did. And then actually, if you want to know if it annoys Tottenham fans, then you go and speak to a couple of them because there's some of them saying, "Oh, they had mixed emotions."
I had it like my Spurs,
they had mixed emotions.
Mate. You're gonna thank us now. A couple of my mates said, "You want to cheer on Harry Kane now?" Like, you know what I mean, and all that. Like, do I echoes like, you know what I mean? It's irrelevant what they do. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, the most important thing was that Manchester City lost. That's how I look at it. Like, you know, and listen, they're still a worry. They are, you know, they're not playing well, but they have players in that team, and I can tell you this now. And you know, Spurs fans can say it was a great result and all that. I tell you this now, that Pep will not drop or leave out De Bruyne at the Emirates. He will not do it. You know,
Funny enough,
I like to see him do it, but
you know what, Lee? Yeah. So again, the other night I was, you know, chatting, and there was a City fan, Steve McKerney, on it, and then there was another City fan on. It's on this overlap show again. And they were saying that he was right to leave out De Bruyne because he's not been playing well.
Well,
you know what I mean? So that's the thing as well. They're saying that De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, they ain't been playing well. Right? So, you know, I mean, we look at things from afar, right? But they're, you know what I mean, they're watching their team week in, week out, and they're saying that he's not been performing. This, you know, he's not been his normal.
He hasn't been great since he come back from the World Cup.
Yeah, they're saying he's not been the normal De Bruyne. So, you know, I listen, there's a few little issues there. And, I mean, obviously, a big issue this week because they all kind of came sheepish into the room, you know, with, you know, the fact that they've been charged, you know, by you know, the Premier League.
Naughty.
Actually, I'm going to, you know, well, no, let's talk about it right now. What's your view on that? What is your view on that? They've been charged with nearly 100 charges of breaches, right? Which, if they're found guilty...
If they're found guilty,
they could be
bye-bye.
You know, relegated. They could be dot points, all kind of things. And it looks like you know, the crux of the thing is that they've hidden lots and lots of dodgy dealings that they've been doing over the years from the Premier League, and they've not shown the real accounts.
Cook the books, as they say.
Well, they've cooked the books. Yeah, they've cooked the books, and a lot of this was discovered sort of covertly and has come out. And, you know, I know Man City are, you know, obviously these are allegations. Well, they're not allegations, they're charges.
Yeah, it's different now.
And, you know, they've denied all of them and they said they're going to fight them. But if they lost that, what do you think should happen to them?
Bye-bye. See you later. Out of the Premier League.
Relegated?
Yeah, we're relegated, League 2, whatever. Don't care. You know what I mean? It's a blatant form of cheating. When you look at it, and I'll say this now, and I was talking about this the other day. Look at Manchester City now. I think they're playing by the rules now, of the real rules. Selling players like Jesus, selling players like Zinchenko, Sterling, because they've got to balance their books properly. Look where they are now. They're in amongst with the pack.
You're in the elite now, yeah.
But before, they was over the hill and far away because they didn't have to do that. But now they are sort of playing within the rules a little bit. It's brought them back down into the real world. What I would say is that you can dock points next season, even this season. I don't think it's fair on the likes of Liverpool that have been playing by the rules for the last 3 years, as Jurgen Klopp has always maintained, and they're not going to get nothing for it. So it's no good docking them points. You know what I mean? Like, you can't take away their trophies, because I'm not being horrible. If they took away all their trophies, we'd get a Carabao Cup. Yeah. Right? Yeah. At the end of the day, so will Spurs.
But should their trophies be taken away?
Well, if they are, I think they should be taken away from them, but not given to anybody else. Because you know what I mean? Like, if we was there that day, we lost 3-0. You're going to go and celebrate, like, you know what I mean? Now it doesn't mean nothing, does it? So I think they should have all their trophies taken away from them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because they've cheated, Robbie. They've done it properly, have they? You know what I mean? Why? Listen, Everton, for instance, just going on about Everton. Everton have had to sell Richarlison. They've had to sell Anthony Gordon, right? Because for financial fair play, right? Manchester City have not been doing that. What, instead of selling players, they've been saying, "Oh, I tell you what, we're only paying Pep £1.50 an hour." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like and whatever.
And then some other mysterious fund is topping his wages up. Yeah, like we do Mancini.
Yeah, like, you know. So at the end of the day, they've not done things like fairly. And for me, if proven, off you go, off you trot back to the League One and all that. Now I will say for the Manchester City fans, you know what I mean. Before all these owners come in, they'd never won nothing in my lifetime. So they've had 7-8 years of fantastic times. You know what I mean? Which, you know, great. But now go back to where you really are. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a bit harsh.
No, because it's not. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like football.
You don't feel a bit sorry for their fans?
Do I, Eckers?
Their fans?
No.
Do you know what? Personally,
why do you feel sorry for their fans? They've had this because of all the money and all that. Like, you know what I mean? They've never had it before.
I feel a little bit for their fans because the fans haven't done.
You feel sorry for Blackburn's fans? Feel sorry for them?
No, let me explain. Yeah, I feel a little bit sorry for their fans because their fans ain't done nothing. All they've done is support their team, right? So it's not their. You know, they
went along with it.
Yeah, but what can they do about it? There's nothing they can do about it. They're seeing and they're hoping that the people in charge and the people with the money and all that are doing the right thing, right? That's all they can hope for. And they're getting excited when they're buying players, and just like we would. If we bought these players and stuff like that, we'd be excited as well, right? Look how people were jumping up and down when we were going to get Mudryk, who, you know, a lot of people probably.
Yeah, but we didn't get him, did we?
We didn't, but a lot of people 6 months prior to that never even heard of him, didn't even know who he was. They were just getting excited because it's an expensive signing. So I'm saying you can't blame the fans. I can't blame, you can't put any blame on Man City fans. But where I am with you is that if they are found guilty, the strongest sanctions should be applied. I don't care, right? Because something has to be done about it. And you really think about it, right? If you go right back to the beginning of when they started to really start to emerge, what was one of the first things they did?
They nicked players from us.
They took our players.
Yeah.
They took Clichy, Sami Nasri, Adi Bayor, you know what I mean? The list goes on. Toure. They took player after player after player off us, weakening us. We couldn't live with them. We couldn't live with the wages they were offering. We couldn't live with the finances that they had, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, you think about that. That's unfair. What it's enabled Man City to do over the years, it's enabled them to retain players. Like you just used that example of, because of financial fair play, Everton have had to get rid of Richarlison. City never did that. They only got rid of players.
If you did want to leave, you leave when your contract's run out.
You leave when they say you leave, right?
Yeah.
They never had to get rid of players. They were always able to buy the very best players like Aguero and listen, these are not players that have come through their academy. They've gone out there and they bought the very best, right? And the very best is what has made them win the title. They went and got Pep Guardiola, the very best manager. So it does make a difference. And when I see, like, there's some people saying, I've been arguing with a couple of City fans, and they was going, well, why? Relegation would be too harsh. I'm like, no, because if you're an athlete, if you're in the Olympics, right, and you take drugs, you get banned for 3 years. This for me is financial doping. What Wenger used to talk about a lot of times. You are using your finances, right? The fact that you've got all this money, you are breaking the rules, and you are using that advantage to get an edge over the other team. So when you've beaten, say, for instance, Liverpool by a point, you could put a lot of that down to the fact that Man City have got an unbelievable squad.
Exactly.
They can, look at all the competition. Their squad is why they've won so many competitions.
That is the point.
FA Cup, they won the League Cup nearly every year. They win because
exactly
they've got
the thing.
Unbelievable squad, right? So,
which no other team in this country can maintain.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so if you're going to, pretend like, we've got a company that's sponsoring us for vast amount of money, when really if a business has got vast amounts of money to sponsor someone, they'd probably go to Man United, who's the biggest club, and say because he's going to get more far a reach. No, it's been manufactured up by your own, sometimes those owners own these businesses. I'm not saying strictly in the case of Man City, so that they can pump more money into the club. It is cheating. Even, I was saying it the other day, even the Chelsea thing, yeah, with this 8.5 year contract and all this, and there's people saying, they're very clever because they found a loophole. I look on it differently, and I say to myself, again, it's bordering on cheating in a way, because you're in a collective. The Premier League is a collective of clubs that all come together and they all are the Premier League. Is it in the spirit of a collective that you now are saying, we found this little thing, we can get a guy in an 8.5 year, right?
Where
when
no one else
is doing it.
And no one else can do it.
Yeah, and I don't think that is right? And if it comes down the line and it bites them, I'm going to be one of the first people to say, yeah, good, right? So, and remember, they had a transfer ban, Chelsea. And a lot of times these teams, something has to be done. If you're playing by the rules, you're playing by the rules. And these teams, especially in the, Man City, if they get found guilty for this, they have not been playing by the rules and they should be banned. We're talking about Brentford this week, right? We're going to play. Ivan Toney. Everybody's been saying that, with this gambling stuff and that, right? If it's found that he's broken those gambling rules, he could be facing a ban. Like what's happened to Kieran Trippier and that. Yeah. What's the difference in this case?
Exactly right. And
this is directly to do with, this is worse than, someone putting a bet on, that they might get 6 corners. Yeah. This is way worse. Exactly. So if they're going to get a ban, right? If they're going to get a ban for, Ivan Toney could possibly get a ban, or Trippier
which will affect Brentford.
Yeah, which will affect Brentford, or Trippier got a ban. It's got to be the same types of sanctions, but this is worse. You've used that to enable you to win things.
Yeah, and
relegation. I agree with you.
And it's not only that. It's like what they do is they unsettle other players, other teams. So, for instance, Tottenham, they unsettled Harry Kane, where he went on strike for a week. You know what I mean? Manchester City wouldn't have had that clout if they was doing things normally. Wouldn't have been able to do that. When they go and sign Grealish, they've already got 3 or 4 wingers there. They had Sterling there. They've got Mahrez there. They've got Silva there. They've got like loads of wide players. Foden, and then they go and spend another 100 million. It's like you look at Arsenal now, like, you know what I mean? We've got Martinelli. We can't really get another one in there, because it ain't, financial fair play or finances don't matter.
Chelsea got 35 first team players.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? Really? So how does that, you know what I mean? How does that work? You know what I mean?
I don't know. There's probably some other loophole that, you know what I mean? Everybody's got to be playing by the same rules. And if you're not, then you don't deserve to be in that league, especially the fact that you're winning it every year. They've won it 3 out of the last 4 years. Because of their spending. Let's have it right. They've been able to, and when we talk about spending, they've been able to spend to get the best manager and keep him. Yeah. That he doesn't leave. And they've been able to go out there and get the best players. Obviously, that doesn't just, you've then got to put it all together to win, but they've got a manager who does that. Right? And they've won league titles. And I'm sorry, listen, if you look at Liverpool, look like they've been trying to do things right, and they had to be spent all half of last season trying to negotiate a contract with Salah, and had to let Mane go and all things like that.
They had to make a choice. Mane to keep Salah.
Yeah, is that fair?
Is that fair?
Now, if you've got some other team that ain't playing by the same rules, it's not right.
Manchester City, right? And this is where I don't feel sorry for their fans, right? And I
feel sorry for their fans.
No, I don't. Right? They're heroes before the legends of their football club. Sean Goater, Paul Dickoff, players like that, they've had for the last few years, through cheating, they've had players like De Bruyne, Haaland, they've got Aguero, players of, Robinho they had, didn't they? Like they've had some, they have had wonderful players. Before that, they had Sean Goater, Dickoff, Noel Quinn was a big player there, and players like that. Look at the world-class players that they've had now. So I don't feel sorry for them.
Do you? Let me play devil's advocate here, right? But do you look on it and say, then how can a team emerge then? How can a team emerge from being where they were, Man City, which was they were just that average Premier Premier League team. Never really used to win things really, but always well supported. And how can they emerge then to burst into the elite and become one of those top teams?
Do it fairly, like Newcastle are.
No, but do
it fairly like Arsenal are. Do it fairly like Tottenham are. Do it fairly like Brentford
I mean, yeah,
are.
listen, and Newcastle are doing it at a slower pace by the looks of it.
And one of the reasons Newcastle are doing it because they know that if they're being watched. And, because of it was a lot of controversy around their sort of thing. So they're doing it very, very, very fairly. Like,
you've got to have a method to be able to let teams emerge. You know what I mean? Like, if an investor came in and
we've had it with Chelsea, like, you know what I mean, like over the years. You know what I mean, like nicking our players. You know what I mean, like Ashley Cole, like, you know what I mean, at that time, like no regards for. Their fans laughed at it, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
they were laughing the other day with the Madrid thing.
So when they can't when they're not allowed to go in the stadium for 6 months and whatever, I enjoyed that. I got no thing about that lot, because at the end of it, teams like Arsenal, and this is teams like Liverpool as well, we have had to sell players for so many years to fund the stadium, to do it all right, and keep in with the financial fair play. Look at deals. We've had players, and we thought, oh yeah, we could get in, but it's going to pull us up, so we pulled out. Frustration from our fans. We've suffered from it.
For years.
Liverpool suffered for it, as you say. Great point in that. Well, we want to keep Salah, but we're going to have to sacrifice Sane, and that's what they've done. Have to sell players on. Like, we have to. You get to a stage where Tottenham, for instance, this season will look at it and go to themselves, right, Harry Kane's not going to sign a contract. I don't know if he is or he ain't. We've either got to sell him or we let him go to his contract and runs out for nothing. They have to make a business decision for that football club. Manchester City and Chelsea go, let it ride, don't matter. I'll tell you what, when he goes, we're bringing another one, because that's what we can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No. So I've got no sympathy for Chelsea or Manchester City. If Manchester City have done wrong, where the allegations are, that is blatant cheating, and you know what I mean. And
even their fans, you don't feel sorry.
I don't. Why? Why should I feel? They've had 10 great years. They've had, as I say, I'll go on.
As I said, it ain't their fault.
Yeah, but was it their fault they got relegated and were in League One and all that? Like, they had a good time when they was in League One, and didn't they, like, getting to the playoff and all that? Like, no, I don't feel sorry for them. Like, look at them all laughing at us when we got beat in the cup game like that a couple of weeks ago, like waving at us and all that, like, you know what I mean? Well, I'm waving back now, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't care, no. You know
what, right? It's going to add some more spice to when we play, isn't it?
Of course it is, you know what I mean? Like, cheats, you know
because
what I mean?
I have to say, right, as I said,
you bought it all.
A couple of those City fans, right, that last time when I saw them, they were like bouncing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came in a bit, they're looking a bit sheepish at the moment, man. They're looking a bit worried. The thing is, though, this thing is going to take ages. It's going to play out
in about 4 years
and all that. But if they're found guilty, I'm with you, Lee. Relegation.
Well, how far down? League Two or Conference?
If it's really serious,
where are you going? League Two?
League Two.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If it's really serious, Juventus, remember, they got dropped 2 divisions.
Yeah.
Juventus, remember, they've been dropped 15 points this season.
League Two.
Right? I think if what I read of those allegations, if those are proven true, those are serious breaches.
Yeah.
It's real. They are literally, it's pure dishonesty.
Yeah, it's League Two.
And dishonesty is cheating. It's as I say, it's the equivalent to like an athlete taking drugs, right? And that's normally a ban, right? All right, in football, we're not going to ban them because the implications, there's fans and all that follow them. But to me, yeah, drop League Two.
For instance, if they get fined, right, it
waste
don't
of
matter.
time.
Waste of time, right? Where does that money go?
I don't know, but wherever it goes, right?
It ain't going to help. If we
it's
get
a waste
fined, it ain't
of time.
going to help
Fans
Liverpool.
are a waste of time.
It ain't going to help Arsenal. It ain't going to help any team that's been cheated in that context of it, is it?
Waste of time.
Waste of time. You give them a 10-point deduction. They win the league by 20 points.
I know, and even a 10-point deduction, that means that they still then come back the next season.
Yeah.
To me, you've got to drop down some divisions. I think, you know, if
Wave them goodbye as well, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Wave them goodbye as well, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Wave them.
You're going to be really popular with the City
No,
fans next
but
week,
listen, I've got a lot of respect for any fan that goes home and away and supporters that support any club. But when you've cheated and done it wrong, I'm not in it, like, you know what I mean? It's the integrity of football. Integrity of football. It is. You know what I mean? I'm an Arsenal fan, but I'm also a football fan, and I don't like things. You know, like we've all done it. We've all. I'm not going to lie. I've died for a penalty in me times and things like that. Try to con referees and things like that.
What happens when you get caught?
You get punished.
And that's what's happened now. If you get caught, you've got to face the punishment.
Yeah.
All right. Listen. By the way, let's do our predictions. Right. We're not going to talk about last week. You didn't even enter last week.
No, do you know what? Like, I've got to say,
winter, and it was Everton, innit?
Yeah, it's another thing to learn. Get them in early, because it didn't come up too late on my thing. And then, bloody Everton. Not only is it a poor place for us to go and play, the internet round there.
It's shocking.
Oh my God! I couldn't get on it.
Don't get me started. Honestly, this is one of my real big problems
Could
with
not
football
get on it.
grounds
Cost
in this
me.
country, that you can't get no reception. Right, I was in the World Cup, every ground I went to, perfect reception in every ground, and there's like 80,000, 90,000 people in there. No one can tell me that that's a reason, the amount of people that descends on the area, as to why the reception is bad. It's disgraceful. You know what I mean? If you were in a football ground and you had an emergency at home and somebody tried to ring you,
they couldn't get on me.
They could better get hold to you.
There's no way they could get hold of me. Like, and do you know what makes it even worse? When I've done my picks, I got 10 out of 10, but I couldn't get them on. Like, I did, I swear I did.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
That was so frustrating.
Right, well, I'll tell you, repeat it this week, right?
All right, then.
Arsenal versus Brentford.
Home win. Go on it, Gunners.
I'm going home win as well, man. Fulham versus Nottingham Forest.
Fulham. Forest are on a good run, though.
Yeah, but Fulham are at home, man.
Yeah.
Fulham are a good side. Oh, Southampton versus Wolves. They should have put another one in there for if he loses, does he go? I'm sure the fans have turned on him already. And rightly so after what he said the other day. I mean, it's a weird appointment, by the way.
Weird
appointment. To, you're in a relegation fight and you go and get someone from the Championship.
I'm going to say this now, right? I've got a little soft spot for Wolves ever since we went up there. Like,
that's because you had a bit of hospitality.
It was a pleasant day.
It was really nice.
I'm going for Wolves away. I'm back in the old.
I actually think Wolves as well. They looked brilliant last week against Liverpool, and I'm going for Wolves as well. I'm going for a Wolves winning that. Leicester versus Spurs.
I've gone a draw.
Got a draw. I mean, yeah. The only disadvantage of them beating City has lifted their spirits a bit.
Leicester had a great win
against Villa. I'm going Leicester. Right?
I love it, Robbie. I love it. Put your money where your mouth is.
Bournemouth versus Newcastle. Now, Bournemouth are starting to look like, it's goodbye to them as well.
Well, I've got a little story about Bournemouth, and I like it. I mean, I should tell you, it was a little story about that. Is that I went to a charity game there, didn't I? And speaking to someone, and he invited us for hospitality next season, like, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't think we'll be going, Robbie, like, you know what I mean? So
that's the only reation you want to stay
yes,
up.
I do, like, you know what I mean? Like,
evil,
it was a lovely meal as well, like, but I can't see Bournemouth surviving now. I've made a couple of signings. I'd love them to do for obvious reasons, but Newcastle away from me.
I'm going for a draw. Newcastle seem to draw every game, man. You know what I mean? So I'm going for a draw. No Bruno Guimaraes as well. He got that red card the other day. Valencia versus Athletic Club.
What is the Athletic Club? They've got a running track around there. Picture something like that. What is that? It's not Atletico.
That's Atletico. Is that Atletico Bilbao?
Madrid. It's not. I don't know.
Atletico Bilbao. I mean,
who is it? Atletico Club. It must be Atletico Bilbao, mustn't it?
Yeah, it must be. I'll go for them then.
Go for the old athletes.
I'll go for the old athletes. West Ham versus Chelsea. That's a good game, that is. That's
Do you know what? West Ham down there, they have got everybody around them. They pulled out a great result against Newcastle, by the way.
Yeah.
But they're all picking up little results around there, like.
Yeah, they've got to step it up.
Newcastle, they got a good result against Newcastle. They've got to back it up. Hammers, you've got to back it up against the Chelsea. I'm going for the Hammers.
I'm going for West Ham as well. It was a tough game for Chelsea.
Lost their best midfield player now, and all in Jorginho. Like,
talking about you weren't saying that after the game last week, right? I think Chelsea, they're dropping like a stone at the moment. I mean, they drew Fulham. I think they were very fortunate in that game. West Ham looked good last week. Bristol City versus Norwich.
Do you know what? Norwich have come really quietly and done really well. So I thought, I'll back them for the first time.
They got battered last week, didn't they? Yeah.
They got battered.
See, that's why I know you're lying about the 10 out of 10. So you're doing a Man City.
I
doing a Man City.
I went Burnley in the end, but I would have gone Norwich. You know what I mean?
As honest as a Man City executive, right?
So I'm not backing Norwich no more because they keep letting me down. So I've gone Bristol City. Who are as inconsistent
I'll back Norwich, man.
Right.
I'll back Norwich. Cardiff versus Middlesbrough. I'm going for Middlesbrough, but our boy Chuba is on fire.
Right, yeah.
He's on fire. Remember, he used to be at Arsenal.
Yeah, and Carrick's doing a very, very good job there. Yeah. So I'm going. I've gone Middlesbrough as well.
Yeah,
right?
That's a long trip for Middlesbrough, isn't it? Middlesbrough to Cardiff. Final one: Crystal Palace versus Brighton. It's a real. If people don't know this is a real derby game. It's even though they're not next to each other, there's a lot of spice between these two teams. They don't like each other at all. Crystal Palace, Brighton.
Across the old fight laugh, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Gatwick,
The Gatwick derby.
The Gatwick derby, like.
It's like they hate each other. Brighton have been playing well. Palace haven't.
So that's something to do with Alan Muller, isn't it? Like,
something like that.
He went from Crystal Palace to Brighton, or Brighton to Crystal Palace, something like that, and that's what started that rivalry up. So I'm told, but I don't know if that's true. But do you know what? I'm going to say this now. Crystal Palace, I'm worrying for my mate Patrick.
They could get a bad run. They've had some tough games though.
They've had some tough games. They play well every time.
Yeah.
I watched them against Man United. They played well, lost. They played them in the league game and got a point in that. But
no Zaha as well.
No, he's done his hamstring. So I'm getting a little bit worried because I think that they play some good stuff and all that, but a little bit like Leeds, they haven't got an end product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm worried for them, but I'm going to back my man Patrick.
I'm going to back him as well because I just think that this is a different. It's a
got
derby.
To win this game.
It's one of them must-win.
They've got to stop the slide. So let me come on, Palace.
I'll go. Ooh, I'm gone red there. I'll go for a win there. So let me.
I've always had a soft spot for Palace as well. Back to Ian Wright, give us Ian Wright, didn't he?
Yeah,
didn't they? And I quite like.
I live in South London as well, so I'll go.
Yeah, I'm a South London boy.
Yeah, I'll go for them. So that is my picks. If you guys want to make your picks, it's AFTV PICK10. Go onto our app, AFTV Plus. And you can enter your ones. There's also a special for the Brentford game, Arsenal versus Brentford at the weekend. So download the app right now or click the link in the description and get involved in that right now. You've got a chance to win £10,000, and I think it's. And
I'm not being biased, Rob. It's a good thing. It is a laugh. You know what I mean? We have a banter with it.
It is a laugh. All we've been doing is laughing. We ain't won nothing.
Well, we go.
We started. Remember we was first doing it.
Started. You know what I mean? Like, I think
we were winning 10s and 50s and every week.
And I was getting £5, £10. You know what I mean?
What's happened, man?
And then I haven't got I've got nowhere near. I've got nowhere near.
You know
what?
I've got to win something this week.
Yeah.
Got to win something this week. And of course, it's Brentford at home on Saturday. It's a massive game. Massive. We dropped points the other day. We do, though, still retain our 5-point lead with a game in hand. But we really need to win the game.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
All right. Do you go strong for this game, or do you?
Well, of course.
Or do you make a couple of changes?
What changes?
Well, I'm thinking maybe like this is. No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking out loud here. I'm not saying that we should do it. Maybe. I don't think Partey can play 2 games. I'd rather him play against Man City, but you got to win against Brentford. I maybe just give Martinelli a rest.
No. For starters, on last week's Saturday, it annoyed me with Martinelli because I felt, right, there's a lot of people looked on that and said, he didn't have a great game. That's because we didn't give him the ball.
Yeah.
he was standing out on that wing. He was out there wide. Right?
Gabriel looked at him and never played him.
And every time, right, Gabriel, also Zinchenko as well, they kept playing the ball inside all the time. They didn't use the width. And I think they contributed to him having a bad game because they didn't give him the ball.
100% with you.
Right, so no, Martinelli, we go with the strongest team. We got to take every game by game, right? Brentford are on a great run. They're 7th in the table. Well, they've I think they're unbeaten in 9 games. Right, they've taken some big scalps this season. Are you forgetting that they went to Man City?
No, I'm not forgetting.
Remember that game?
I am asking the question.
Well, I'm giving you the answer. I ain't resting nobody.
You.
Right? We go with the strongest team. This is a big, important game. Brentford are a good side, right? You know what I mean? I know we battered them when we played them at their place, and that was one of our most impressive away wins of the season.
Brilliant performance.
We've had a little bit of a setback. When you look on it, we've lost our last 2 games. You know, if you factor in the FA Cup game into it, we've got to get back to winning ways. I go with the strongest team, you know what I mean? That's what I go with, right? And I think Partey can play 2 games in a week. I really do, you know what I mean? Because
he's going to have to.
Yeah, I think he can. I think he can play, you know what I mean?
Lots of 3 games a week.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think he can play 2 games in the week, you know what I mean? And you know, but to me, the strongest possible team, these guys, Brentford, are no pushovers.
No,
very good side, you know what I mean? You know, remember, was it a game a couple of weeks ago? They didn't even have Tony, and they still won.
Yeah, who was that guy?
Was that Chelsea they played? Who did they play? Forgot who they played.
I think it was Chelsea. But they got a draw at Chelsea, or was it?
Yeah, I forgot the game, but they didn't even have Tony.
Yeah.
You know, so even without them, they got all these guys.
They beat a good team.
Yeah, they got these guys like Wissa and all these. I mean,
was it Liverpool?
I can't remember. Oh man,
I think it was Liverpool.
I'll find out. But you know, they are a good side, right? And I want us to go with the strongest possible team because if not, it's the type of team that could turn you over. They, of course, very impressive last week, 3-0 winners over Southampton. I think that game, it was Liverpool, 3-1. 3-1 at home. Remember that? They absolutely battered Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think...
You, most teams are this season.
Yeah, most teams are battering Liverpool.
Don't see much of Alex, do we? Like, he keeps very quiet, like, you know what I mean? You know?
You know.
Like a little canary, he was chirp, chirp, chirp. Now he's like a deaf canary.
Remember that guy Fu Wizzy, man? He just disappeared, you know what I mean? But nah, listen, honestly, that is a really tough game. I think we've got to give them a lot of respect. I think Brentford are the sort of team as well, they'll come with a plan. You know what I mean? They
good
mixed
manager.
I remember when they played Liverpool, they mixed it up, lots of long throws and really up in your face. They may have looked at what Everton did last week and think to themselves, you know what, we're going to go long as well. We ain't going to play it out from the back too much. We're going to stick it on Arsenal as well and try and frustrate them. But I feel that this is the perfect game for Arsenal to bounce back now, to show all the fans that, you know what, don't worry, that was a blip last week. Get a big win in, and again, put some pressure on Manchester City. I know, we'd expect them to beat Aston Villa, which is their game on the Sunday, but we play before them. Put some pressure on them. 8-point lead with a game in hand. Yeah.
Oh.
You know?
Massive game.
Put some pressure on them. What if they even a draw in that game? And then they you think about it. If we won our game, they slipped up, draw or loss, then they came to our place and then we actually beat them. Then you start dreaming of, we're on the way. Okay. You know?
Oh, don't know. You're making me ill now.
I know. It's horrible to even think about it. But it comes down to the fact that one game at a time. I know it's an old cliche.
Yeah, no.
It's one game at a time. Forget the City game next week, Wednesday. Yeah. I know people keep going on about,
I'm with you on
if
that
we
one.
beat them here, but it may not come down to that.
Listen, people were asking me, you're getting a bit nervous about all that. Oh, no, I'm not. I've been wanting this for I can't remember how long I've wanted Arsenal being a genuine title race.
Yeah.
And we're in it, and I'm going to enjoy it, the emotions of it. Brentford, this game last season, I know we won it 1-0. This game now is huge. Every single game we play is huge.
Yeah, and I
that's
think
how it should be.
Brentford will try and will kind of treat this like a free hit. because they'll know that everyone's expecting them to get beat. But
they've got a chance of getting into Europe, as you said earlier in the season.
They're in the European places right now. They're in the Conference League places. So we've got to win this. Strongest team. If it ain't quite working, you bring your Trossards and your people on. But I don't want us to start getting too clever now that we've got a bit more strength in depth. Let's do what we've been doing all season. The main team goes out there and does the business. I think, listen, it was an off day last week, right? We got beaten by the better team. No excuses for last week. But now we got to go and turn it on against Brentford. And I think we will.
Yeah.
I think we will. And, get back on track. And then that sets up a huge... That game next week against City
will be massive.
Will be either way. I mean, if we slipped up, it'd be even more massive. The whole footballing world is going to be on that game next week against City. It's going to tell us a lot about Arsenal's chances of winning the league. But before that, we have to beat Brentford. What if we beat Brentford and they lost? You know what I mean? Then we could even afford to lose the game against them. So that's what I'm saying. The game in front of us is the most important, and that is Brentford, and we've got to win that game.
Yeah. What are you going for?
3-1. And I don't know why I'm not disrespecting Brentford because it's such a good side, but I just think it could be one of those tight games where then we get a couple and we just get away again at the end. But they're good. So, but remember, we played them at their place, beat them 3-0. Yeah. It was a while ago.
I'm going to go 2-0, but it wouldn't surprise me. No, we don't look at clean sheets at home. You know what I mean? It's something that we've got to address. I mentioned it a few weeks ago. It's something we've got to address. If we're going to go on and win this title, we have got to shore up our defence. We're a little bit too open, I think, at times.
I think it's going to be a nervy affair like that United game.
Yeah, but if it was a nerve. But how well we played that day.
Yeah.
If we play at that sort of form, we've got to replicate that in these next two games. Listen, if we can win, if we can get 6 points in the next two games, you know what I mean?
Big things.
Oh, it's a massive.
We're coming towards the end of the show. Before we end here today, I've got a question I want to ask you, right? Because one of our lone players, Following Balogun, right? He's out there. He's absolutely storming it over there in Ligue 1. He's been brilliant in the French league. Got more goals than Mbappe, Messi, Neymar. Would you bring him back at the end of the season, or would you cash in on him?
I'm bringing him back. Well, we need 3 players next season to compete. With the squad we've got now, we need 3 players. We need 2 midfield players and a forward. So why sell one? We need, you know what I mean? As things stand, and we'll be going for Champions League and the Premier League. You can't afford to rest anybody. You can't, like we have done this season. Bring him back, you know what I mean? I think he's, this is great for him. And listen, people keep going on about it's only the French league and all that. I said this before.
It's only the French league.
We bought Lacazette for 50 million from French league. Pepe, £75 million and all that. Someone said, he's only scoring in the Farmers League. So much disrespect.
Yeah, that same league has the best players, some of the best players in the world. They've got the best player in the world, in my opinion, Neymar. Or if you don't think it's him, it's probably then Messi, right? And he's outscoring them. Yeah. He's outscoring Neymar. Mbappe, sorry. Mbappe, Messi, Neymar. He's outscoring those
all
3.
Of them.
He's outscoring those 3, and those 3 in any league would kill it. So don't just discount it like that. And he's playing for a team that's not even up there.
Yeah, in mid-table.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
playing red and white as well, though, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Red and white. You know what I mean? So it is. So I'm with you, Lee. I'll bring him back. I think next year, if because we even now, you think about it. I know Jesus is out, and hopefully he should be back end of this month. But you think about it. We haven't got a backup striker.
No.
And we're going to hopefully be in the Champions League next year. Bring him back, man. Bring him back.
The only thing I can think about selling him, and it might not be him, it could be Eddie, one of the two, is if we're trying to do a deal with West Ham.
For Declan Rice, and that could bring in some money.
And they're desperate for a forward. So that was the only, we might have to do that, but for me,
Bring him back.
Bring him back.
Bring him back. All right, listen, we've reached the end of the show. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, you can get this podcast on all the usual formats. Also, don't forget, AFTV PICK10. You can enter right now. All you got to do is scan the QR code or click the link in the description and enter your 10 picks. A share of 10 grand in the PICK10 this week, and I think it's 1.5 grand in the special for the Brentford game. That is there right now, right? So, you know, it's great fun to play. So get involved in that right now. And let's hope we can do the business against Brentford, and then it's on to that big one. Man City. Can't wait. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.